So today is a Datapack day, and I'm thinking we're going to be trying to make a particle data pack. And I wanted to just try this command. I've never actually used it, so I just want to see what files it creates. Okay, that's pretty cool. It's always kind of annoying to do. It even got the version number right, so it put like the pack code. Definitely cool, although this is the name of the containing folder, not like the actual namespace, so. Yeah. So last episode, we prototyped a system that I really like here, which lets us change various things about the particles. And we can even add them into the world, Problem is we can only really cycle between two states right now, big and small, and we have just two different particles. And we want all of these particles to be available, and I mean all of them, every last one of them. So we're gonna need an easier way to change between a lot of particles at once, because we don't want to be like left click once, left click, we'd have to click like 65 times to cycle all the way through. No thanks. So we have a defined list of particles and a defined set of options to pick from. I think that we actually could use an option that I didn't think I was going to ever use again because of how much I disliked it. But here we go. We're going to use a dialog. So this is basically a test. I want to see, can we get dynamic values out of it? So if we're typing something here, so let's say a cool particle, yes. And then we hit this button. Oh boy, not this again. You were trying to run an unrecognized. I wasn't sure what command to put for the cancel button, so I put nothing, and apparently that triggers a warning. Okay, so this is what's displaying. This is the error. We're not allowed to run a command with a signed argument, which basically means we can't run a say command. And that's kind of the problem with dialogs. We want it to trigger commands on our behalf. We want to make a particle system that can create commands for builders so that they don't have to type this stuff in. It's just funny because it's making it a macro command. That's what this is over here. A cool particle is a macro. It inserted that into the command. But the only commands worth inserting are the ones that we can't run. I guarantee you we can't run particle. Oh. Wait. An unrecognized or invalid command? I got all excited there for a second. I was like, wait. This is unrecognized too? Oh, that one went through? Say doesn't work, but particle does? I am so confused. Yeah, that's displaying particles where we want it to. So I want to know how this works. So we're in a survival world and I don't have access to commands. I just want to see will the dialog let me run the command? Because this is kind of important if this data pack might be used by people who don't have access to commands like I do in my world. Oh yeah, I can't run it if I don't have command level access. It's such a mixed bag because we could do, we could modify particle speed from here. We can modify the number of particles. We can choose the particle, although we have to click through individually. And if it's oops, I wanted explosion. Now I have to go all the way back around to get to explosion. And this isn't even there'd be 80 particles instead of 10 or however many I have. So it's a cool thing, but then, we need this elevated privileges. So I guess what we could do, so this, the way that you get past this normally is you use trigger. So a non-elevated player can run this like just a regular player, and it lets them, if I turn this on, it lets them run commands that they couldn't normally run. But because trigger is controlled with numbers rather than say a string, each of these different options would have to be a separate dialog, which might be kind of annoying, but we could try it. I did attempt to try and combine all the numbers into a single bit field sort of to save it into one trigger, but I think separate is the best way. So I made a little thing, and also check this out. If we go to pick your particle, I figured it out. It's called multi-action. If there was more, you could actually scroll up and down. As it is, we can just pick I don't know, dripping honey. or Elder Guardian or something. There's actually 10 there. That's why it was opaque. A little bit of angry villager. Yeah, so that's working all right. The other two aren't hooked up yet because of the next thing that we're going to work on. But you can see the slider. That is, we want to attach the particles and save the settings of the particles in an entity like an armor stand. Fortunately for us, armor stands can store data in a tag called data. So if we have a variable named particle name and it's like, I don't know, angry villager, let's slap that on it. And then if we get that data, you'll notice it's saved it. So this is where we're going to be putting all of our settings. And that's pretty straightforward. We won't worry about that. What we're going to worry about is how are we going to summon these armor stands? What is a good way to do this? Previously, we used, we hold an arrow in our hand and shift, and then that just like keeps summoning constantly. So you can have way too many, which we're not going to be doing. So let's consult the list of possible items, aka my storage. I guess one simple option would just be very direct. We could just have the player place a special armor stand, like we could make a custom recipe for it. And one of the things I like to do at this point is sort of look for edge cases. So one edge case, you know, obviously you can place an armor stand anywhere on the ground, but can you place it against the wall? Because somebody might want particles like up against the wall, maybe like a light or something, or like, you know, flies buzzing around. Can you place, you can, but then it goes lower. Where exactly is it putting the bottom? Just one block below. So that maybe could work. I'm curious if we can actually have it save like certain values. So if we may set it to small, will it keep that? No, so we can't set that ahead of time. Well, I did have another idea. There is a really rare item that nobody uses. And in fact, I don't even know how to craft one for certain. Is it just glowstone dust? It is. Okay. Spectral arrows. If we shot a spectral arrow, let me just get rid of that. We could pinpoint where we want the particle emitter. So say we want it right there. We could summon the particle emitter right at that arrow and then remove the arrow. And it kind of like makes sense, like spectral arrow, like it sort of sounds visual, like maybe there's some particles. I mean, even when we shoot this thing, there's some particles, extra particles that aren't in normal arrows. Yeah, so you can see the particles are a little bit different. And actually, now that I'm kind of on that train of thought, we could even use firework rockets too, like a special firework rocket. Although they kind of slide, so maybe the spectral arrows would be better because they do actually stick into stuff. Will this keep data that we put on it? And fire. Particle arrow. It keeps the data. That allows us to distinguish a regular arrow from a special particle arrow. Okay, and now we're gonna try another edge case. Basically me just trying to prove myself wrong, because if I fail, then it's probably an okay idea. So let's try and back away a little bit here. We're gonna try and hit the sea lantern underwater with a spectral arrow. Oh, wait, what? How far does it? Okay, so it can go like 10 blocks-ish? Hey, if you can hit something from here, that's probably as far away as you're going to be placing particle emitters. You're not like sniping them unless you're just trolling. And the idea too is, of course, you can troll a little bit. You can have fun with it. You can be like, okay, I want to put a particle emitter up there, but I don't want to like block all the way up there. Let me just snipe it, you know? Okay, I have a custom recipe now for our new particle arrow. You'll notice we get 3, and obviously it has like a name and like fancy stuff. So let's just go. I haven't seen these commands all together, so we're gonna experience together whether this works or fails. But what should happen is a regular spectral arrow should do nothing, but our special particle arrow should make something happen. It has the custom data particle arrow. And I assume if we pick it up, it still stacks. There it is. There it is. Okay. There was a couple of typos. Well, not exactly a typo. The particle arrow changes from true to 1B. Like that's how the game resolves it. And then in ground apparently has a lowercase I and then a capital G. I put a capital I. So there should be a particle emitter here that is invisible. Yes, armor stand, no gravity. It has the T particle emitter tag, which is what we want. Okay, so it created the particle emitter, but no particles are coming out. And that's because we need to actually be pulling the data from that invisible armor stand to generate the actual particles, which means we're going to need a macro. So this is the macro that is stored in a function right now. We can see there's 3 variables currently, the name, the speed, and the amount. And the cool thing is when we run a function, we can use with to pull arguments from an entity, which we're going to pull from the armor stand. And we can just say data.particle. And so we can see the 3 variables here. Amount is 10, name is this, and speed is that. So it'll pass each of these 3 in, I think. So let's just put a button on here and see if something shows up over there. Aha! Look at that. And storing this data in the armor stand allows each particle to have its own set of unique settings. So there I just increased the amount to 20. So now that particle emitter will create 20 particles every time it summons them. And so if we add this into the data pack, we can see every tick it is summoning those particles. Now that's too many particles. So we should hook up our dialog system to the command that I just ran over here where it changes the particle amount. So I think I have it set to connect. Let's see, how many particles should we do? Let's do 3 every tick. You are trying to execute an unrecognized. What's unrecognized about this? Why is there no number? Maybe that's what's going on. Oh yeah, no number. So this is where the error is. I'll give you a second if you want to see what the issue is. This is choosing the amount of particles. You'll notice the key is speed here. That should be amount, which I have changed it to, and we're reloading into the world. Or rather, have reloaded into the world. And now, based on those changes, we should maybe see a particle difference. Yes! Look at that, it's a lot less particles. The range is quite huge, which we'll have to deal with in a second, but we can just change it manually. Okay, that's pretty cool. I like that. And we'll definitely want to increase how high up, because it maxes out at 10 right now, but you could put like 20, like we had 20 before. So now I just have to do it for every single other setting. So that'll take a little bit of time. Oh man, that's a cool effect though. Okay, it's working. It creates this interaction entity that we can then right click, pulls up the particle settings. We can be like, more particles. And more particles happen. Oh, whoops, I already have the X set. So we can pull this back a little ways. We could make it really tall if we wanted to. And something worth noting, you'll notice the interaction entity actually goes away when we get far away. And also, if we are not holding the particle arrow, that's how we would interact with it. Like we have to be holding that. So that way there's less entities, because potentially, you could have multiple of the particles around. So we could like make one over there. Oh wait, now I don't have particle arrows. Whoops. Anywho, so that's going pretty well. Another cool thing is if we have the particle arrow in our crossbow, we can actually access it from there too. And one little cool detail, if we take a look at the Y radius, you'll notice that it sets the default number to be whatever the current number is. And that's not as easy as it sounds. In fact, you can actually see all the dialogues here because this is the command that summons the dialogues. There's so much. And that doesn't even have all the particles in it. It's crazy, but it allows us to do macros, so that's how we can have the defaults pulling up here. And the funny thing is, to make those defaults work, we have to store them in two different formats. So we have the integer version and then the version that actually goes into the command. And there's also these pass-through macros because there's two stages. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so this is pretty cool, but there are still a few things out of our grasp, some things that we can't do. One of which is these particles are on all the time, and we might not want that. Like, for example, our steam vents over here are only on sometimes. And at first I was like, well, maybe we should like turn that into a command block, like have it actually set a command block that has all the settings in it, and then we could control it with redstone, but that's kind of weird. And builders might not want just command blocks sitting around. So I was like, is there a different way to solve this? And I remembered predicates exist. Took me so long to type that it started raining. But we have access to this predicate called periodic tick, where basically it will only succeed on the even ticks. And obviously we could extend that. So, you know, every 30 seconds it could trigger, or every, I don't know how long, all the way up to like 100 seconds or whatever we decide to set it to. But that means I need to add another one of these. Which means this is gonna get even longer. I think it's worth it though. I'm curious if this works already. So we go here. No, it doesn't. We need to initialize the variable. Normally that happens when it gets created, but when we're adding things in, it's not. We also need to make the pass-through macro variable. Okay, so now it works. We can choose our clock cycle duration, so it triggers every however many ticks we want it to. One issue with this, so 24,000 ticks is one game day, so we might want it to be like one whole game day before it triggers, but if we want it to be like 2, like I can't get to 2. Can you scroll? Not really. What about left and right arrow? Just skips it quite a ways. Is this weird? So we have one that goes from 1 to 100, and then we have one that goes from 1 to 24,000. It's slightly off. I can fix that later. But that way we can tune it. But will these conflict? Like, let's say we left this at default. Will it pick 40 or 1 if we save? 1. So it's just going with the second one, I assume. If we set this to like 2,000. Yeah. So that's fine. We can just have 1. It'll have a lower limit, but we do get more fine grain control. And I mean, who's going to be setting it super high anyway? So if we set it to like 40, it'll only summon the particles every... Excuse you? Where'd he go? He like leaped over my head or something. But yeah, every 2 seconds, those particles will summon. And I also added another one, random chance. So right now it's at 100% chance, that's the default. But if we do like a 25% chance, then every 2 seconds it'll have a 25% chance to summon, which is, you know, pretty low. So we have 2 more problems to solve here. One of them is pretty easy, so we'll start with that one. We need a way to delete this particle emitter. So we can pretty much just add another option. So that's pretty straightforward. If we want to remove this, we just delete this, and it's all red and stuff, so it's like super clear something's happening. This isn't just a regular setting. And if we delete that, I said delete. Okay. Whoa, what? It worked. Now I gotta make sure if it was consistent. Does this just delete it correctly now? Oh, looks like it does. So that's good. But the last thing, the thing that I have been saving, is actually very well demonstrated in this particle. This particle is actually a special particle. It has special settings. And we can see that if we look at the name. So item is the particle, but then it needs this special info of Minecraft blaze powder. And here's where the problem comes in, right? Because if we pick our particle, we can pick between these ones. I haven't put all of them in yet. But there's like 80 particles. And if one of the particles can be any item, then that means we need a whole nother set of triggers that can cover all of the hundreds of items in the game, which is like, no thanks, I don't want to do that. But I also think that this is a cool particle. So is there an easier way that we can code it? Because remember, we're stuck to triggers, meaning we're stuck to integers. You know, we can't put in like blaze powder. But then I was like, hey, wait a second. If we right click this, we could maybe take the info from our offhand when we're picking that particle. All right, let's give this a shot. The thing is, this could be really, like, we're aiming for builders, right? And it's really intuitive to just be able to like swap in, you know, what the particle you want is. So let's see. Oh, yeah, I'm setting, you can set the components and the item ID, but maybe we don't need components. So I'm gonna give it an enchantment glint override. Oh, enchantment doesn't even apply. Oh, then yeah, okay, let's get rid of the components. We don't need them. Okay, how about now? Easy. Look at that. That's really cool. Okay, wait, that was really worth it. If I put command blocks in the offhand, do I get even better orange particles? Actually, they're kind of pale looking. Cool, it works. Unfortunately, there's quite a few that use other special like settings and things here. We got, what, 16? 14, actually 14. Okay. And see, a lot of these are cool, like dust. You can literally do like RGB. Oh, man. But each R, G, and B is a separate setting. Ooh, should we do it? So I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I bit off more than I could chew. There is so much stuff here. But I couldn't back down. And I just kept going and kept going. Ooh, that one looks cool. And I went kind of try hard on all the settings. And yeah, so normally I'd be about halfway through editing this episode, but not today. But I did it. Every single particle is included. You can see the full list now. This is all the regular particles. And while I was making the stuff for the advanced particles, I had a couple more ideas. One is simple, resets back to the default settings, which is nice because there's so many particles it's hard to keep track of everything. But this second setting is a game changer. Redstone control. I figured out how to do it. All we need is to have like a piece of redstone dust. Power that and voila. I don't know why I was thinking about like the whole like turn it into a command block thing. Like this is way easier. It makes way more sense. It works with all the natural redstone stuff. You just have to make sure that the redstone dust is at the same block as the particle emitter, which may not be like super obvious, but it's pretty close. So now we have to put everything together. We have to try using this to see if it's very good. And also just to enjoy the hard work that has been put in this episode. And when I say hard work, I'm not exaggerating. This dialogue thing, the command that runs that is so long, it doesn't fit in a command block. I can't type any more letters. And that is because it is 38,726 characters long. And like that's a necessary length because if we didn't do it this way, we couldn't get the default values. Like when we go to redstone control and the box is already checked. So that's probably a high score. Might be a long time before I top that. Okay, let's make a particle here. Let's try this out. So we're gonna go through the whole process and sort of imagine like we're the builder. You'll notice I've turned hitboxes off. So we'll craft the arrow. This is the one part that might not be intuitive. So we might want like a little message, like, you know, when you load into the data pack, like it'll tell you something. Now we have to place it, and I'm going to be adding redstone control here. So we're going to dig into the ground, and we want it centered. So actually we could probably just put it right there. Let's load the particle arrow. Let's see how tricky this is to do. Oh, wait, is it even in the block though? Well, let's just see. Redstone control. Oh, it's not in the block. Okay. Okay, we got to make sure it goes in here. Very good, very good. Okay. And then we'll set this to be redstone control on. No particles. Particles, very good, very good. And now we want the particles to show up to the door up there. So we're going to need to extend this. I need like a staircase or something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks in the Y direction. So we'll modify the Y radius. And this is in tenths of a block, so I think we want it to be 50. Oh yeah, we can see the particles. There's definitely not enough though, so we're gonna need to turn this up. I don't really know how high. That is one advantage of this system, is we should be able... Oh. Oh, wait. Oh, it needs to be inverted. Oh, boy. Now, builders wouldn't be doing, like, super complicated redstone, so I'm glad that it's just, like, redstone dust. Like, that's pretty easy to understand. I think we're going to move it here, and that'll shift it forward just enough. So let's delete this guy. And... pow. Right there. Yeah, now the particles only trigger when it opens. Yes, very good, very good, very good. Okay, so we needed to go a little bit more on the Z. About 20. We don't have to be really precise. That's the nice thing with the particles. You can sort of fiddle around with them. We need a way better... Ooh, that's cool. Man, this is one part that is a little bit overwhelming. It's really easy to try stuff, but like, there's so many particles. You kind of need to know what you're looking for. I mean, you can look around, but there's no visuals. I thought it would have been really cool if I could have put like an image of each particle next to it. But some of them you wouldn't even be able to see, so. Plus, you can't do it anyway. I don't know, let's try splash. I wanted kind of like a wow thing, so maybe like Totem of Undying. It's like a party, it's like confetti explodes when you go through the door. I like that, but it's a little too fast. Turn this particle speed down here. It's so natural just right clicking. This is that I was worried about the dialogues. I was like, it's gonna take you out of the game, but because we're limited to one variable per dialogue, we end up back in the game a lot. It's like coming down from the ceiling. I like that a lot. Oh, that's really cool. I'm actually gonna make it a little taller though. Oh, look at that. It's like confetti that sits on the ground. Oh, that's so cool. It's funny. I spent the most time on pick an advanced particle, like all the settings here, and I just use a basic particle. Because you have to do like extra stuff, right? Like you can make very specific colors. If we wanted something purple, just make sure the green's down. Yeah, I mean, like we could try and match the exact color of the terracotta if we wanted to. Oh, I just had a dumb idea. We're just trying stuff at this point. And that's what you want to be able to do with building, right? You want to be able to try stuff. So if we do block marker. So you can't even see. That's kind of funny. Ow. We could do like block crumble though. It's like some purple falling. Oh, that just makes it look unstable. It's a cool effect though. Yeah, the Totem of Undying's the best, I think. Bam. And it's as simple as that. We can just close this right up. And we're done. Particles only trigger when the redstone is there. The interaction entity has been removed. So it's just that marker armor stand, which shouldn't do very much. Background processing. Cool. Look at that. Wow. Okay, so this data pack is kind of good, I think. It's in the description since it turned out so well. You're of course welcome to use this in your world. And yeah, let me know if you liked it, if you thought this was a good idea, like, you know, maybe you think builders would use this. I'll definitely add some message about, you know, the particle arrows. And you can see this stuff, you know, yeah, like the particle arrow, you can actually search for it and it'll show up in your crafting book if you have all the ingredients. And it does have some instructions here, like shoot to create the particle emitter, interact with the particle emitter to change settings. So there is some stuff in game that people will be able to figure out. But yeah, cool. Okay, my brain needs a nap. That was really hard. The 38,720, whatever it was. It's totally fried my brain. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you get some use out of the particle emitter data pack in your own world. I'll probably do like a release video of it, maybe next week that's like shorter and explains how to use it too. for people who aren't, following along with the Let's Play and stuff like that. But that's going to be it from me. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later, later. Oh yeah, and here's the message. Craft a particle arrow to get started. All right. Catch you later.